Turn out the lights, the party's over. And they say all good things must end. Call it a night, the party's over. And tomorrow starts the same old thing again. For those that don't know, that was Don Meredith's famous thing he would say after a blowout loss on a Monday Night Football back in the 70s and the 80s. And that is exactly what Jaguars are doing for this season. We're turning out the lights. The party's over. The season's over. Really, the entire franchise should be over. They should shrink the NFL to 31 teams moving forward and downgrade the Jaguars back to college football or to Canadian football. Maybe it'd be more relevant.
I mean, it's beyond embarrassing. There's no words for it. We're the Jag Bros. We're three diehard Jags fans. So in some ways, it's nothing new. I mean, the Jaguars have gotten blown out a ton, but in other ways, it is new just because of all the hype going into the season. You have the owner, Shad saying this is the most talented Jaguars team. You know, you have this quarterback that you paid $250 plus million to. You have the offseason where you spent $500 million, and yet you are in last place. You are in first place for the number one overall pick. We were so excited. We did a YouTube live for the first time ever, and we just shut it off at halftime because the Jags did not show up at all. Shout out to our cousin Jansen being on there. But anytime you give up 5 touchdowns on 5 drives and you only score a field goal 34-3, beyond embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's always the age-old question, could a college team beat an NFL team? Yes. UT, UGA, many college teams could probably beat the Jaguars right now. And frankly, I don't know that they would care.
I just want an apology. I want an apology from the team. I want an apology to Mike Caldwell. Obviously, it's not his fault. He was a scapegoat. He actually had the defense getting turnovers and trying to help out this team. You see what happens when you have a defense that provides no turnovers, how bad this team actually is. Somehow we had 9 wins last year, and the year before that, 9 wins. Where did it all go? Mike Caldwell actually was the savior of this team ability to win games because he'd give us short fields by getting turnovers. That's gone. Now it's on the offense to actually make plays and drives, and they can't do it. They can't do it. The defense looked abysmal, and I had a real question after the Browns. I mean, the Browns are so bad, and we gave up 16 points to them. I was like, this defense doesn't look that good. And then all of a sudden we see the Dolphins and the Browns just stink. And the fact that we lost to them and then we play a good team, we see how bad we actually are. We are the worst team. The Carolina Panthers are better than us. Every
100%.
team is better than us. The Titans are better than us. The only reason they're losing is because Will Levis likes to turn the ball over really dumbly. Just so poorly coached, so poorly ran, so poorly. I want an apology to the city, to the fans, everyone who pays money to watch this team. Absolutely terrible. Urban Meyer may be better than Doug Peterson right now. That's how bad it is.
I've watched over 300 Jaguars football games in my fandom since the late 90s. Which, oh, by the way, Shad Khan, that was the best team in Jaguars history. Not the most overpaid team that this one currently is. And that was by far the worst half of football I've ever seen. I've never seen somebody score 5 straight touchdowns on their only 5 possessions in a half. 34-3 at half. Like, I've seen some horrible performances. I remember when Tony Romo picked us apart in the mid-2010s in London, and I think it was like 28-7. That somehow was closer than the performance we saw on Sunday. You're right. The Jaguars are the worst team in the NFL. They're terrible. And you know what? Here's the thing that bugs me. We're recording this on Wednesday. You know what? Nobody's been fired. Nobody's been canned. It's just all hey, we just got to look in the mirror. We got to get better. What are you talking about? Nobody holds anybody accountable. It starts at Shad Khan's level. This is the thing that I've been saying now for a couple of years. Shad Khan does not care about how this team performs. He's probably getting a little pissed. They just shelled out $500 million for 3 players, 2 of which are terrible, and one of which is underperformed this year compared to last. Where is anybody? I mean, Josh Allen could have played in a nightgown out there. He was not touched. I'm pretty sure he had 15 seconds every time to run in every single game. What's the game plan against the Jaguars defense? Dump it off to a running back, dump it off to a tight end, because guess what? We will cover nobody. The entire time you see those guys wide open. When was the last time we saw a Jaguar wide receiver open? Oh, wait, we saw that a couple of times when we're already trailing by 30 points in the second quarter and our quarterback can't hit him. It's unbelievable how bad this team is now. Usually when you have an offensive coordinator and a quarterback on the same page for 3 seasons in a row, like we have with Press Taylor and Trevor, they tend to get better as they go. Not worse. Trevor under Urban Meyer actually looked better. This was awful. The defense looks terrible. The offense looks terrible. It looks like this is the Jaguars of 2013 with Blaine Gabbert and Mike Mularkey calling the plays, or you know what? Even worse, Gus Bradley calling the plays. Nobody holds anybody accountable. You get a penalty, great. Let's make sure we roll that person out again. Let's give that guy a bonus. You know what? Let's pay him the most amount of money ever within his position, because he's clearly adding some sort of value to our team. We're a player's graveyard. Nobody cares. And Shad Khan in particular, how you don't fire somebody after that performance is mind-boggling. You see every year somebody fire at least a coordinator. You know what? You fire special teams coordinator, even though special teams is fine. Fire the special teams coordinator, because we know we're not going to fire the offensive coordinator, and it looks silly firing a defensive coordinator 3 games after picking him up the previous year. I just don't understand what's going on. It's so poorly run. Nobody holds anybody accountable, and mediocrity, not mediocrity. Whatever well below mediocrity is tolerated.
If anyone needs to be fired, like, I understand maybe not firing the head coach and offensive coordinator right away. I mean, they should be fired. It's just the most abysmal thing I've ever seen in my entire life was on Monday night. But the offensive line coach needs to absolutely go. He needed to go 2 years ago. He's so bad. What happens when Walker Little comes in? 2 false starts right in a row. He gives up a sack right after that. The person's not ready to go. It's not coached up. No one cares on this offensive line. The only person, like, if we had to give out a game ball, Mitch Morris was actually playing well. You saw us actually being able to get 3rd and 1s because we ran it right up his butt, and he was actually moving the pile. He was doing something. He actually didn't want to be embarrassed in front of his old team. But everyone else, Cam Robinson stinks. Walker Little stinks. Anton Harrison stinks. It's so bad. Everyone thought it was going to be the interior. No, it's the tackles that just absolutely blow. The blocking schemes make no sense. No one's ready for their shot or opportunity to get in. That's on the coaching. How are you not ready to go? Fire someone, fire everyone. It's over. It's over.
It's over. And honestly, all I keep coming back to in the last day, 2 days, is I'm just tired. Like, I'm just tired of the same old. It'd be one thing if this was in just an abysmal game, an anomaly. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has not won a start since the last year Thanksgiving weekend. We just have not won in forever, and it's the same problems over and over and over again. I'm tired of our offensive line playing terrible, giving up 23 pressures, giving up 4 sacks, a defender in Trevor's face, Trevor Lawrence getting hit all the time. I'm tired of Trevor Lawrence not making big plays. I'm tired of terrible play calling. I'm tired of the offense never looking in rhythm. I'm tired of every single game we start slow. I'm tired of us getting blown out in every single primetime game. I'm tired of seeing every draft pick after the first round make 0 impact all the time. I'm tired of every big free agent acquisition like Armstead can't even stay out on the field. It makes no impact. I'm tired of this team not caring. I'm tired of fans caring more than every coach, every player, every general manager that exists on the Jacksonville Jaguars team. You know, I stayed up late. I watched every single play. I stayed up late for the post-game press conference because I wanted to see something happen. We named the last week's episode Hedge Need to Roll. And if you listen to those press conferences, you would have thought the Jaguars lost a close game. Not that they lost 47-10, where the Bills were not even trying in the second half. They could have put up 60. They could have put up 70 points on us if they were trying, but they were just coasting, having a great day, having a field day yet again. And I'm just tired of this team not caring. Doug Peterson said earlier this week, yeah, Shad Khan and I have had great conversations this week. Great conversations. What in the world? This team is so broken. I told everyone after we lost the second game 2 to the Browns, I'm embracing my inner villain. I'm dropping a villain quote every episode until the Jaguars win yet again. Well, here's a quote from the Joker. We Jags fans are just ready to watch this whole thing burn. There is nothing left except for a few small pieces. This is time for rebuild, I don't know, 10.0, 20.0 in Jacksonville. You need to scrape this whole thing, scrape the gum off the shoe and rebuild this thing yet again. And yeah, by the way, let's go build a $1.something billion stadium and ask for Jacksonville to pay for half it. Crazy. I'm just tired.
Shad Khan may be the worst NFL owner ever from a performance perspective. He's certainly the losingest because over the last 15 years, we are awful. Now, look, he's a decent businessman. I think some of the game day experience, what he's doing, the vision for Jacksonville, I love it. The fact that he was actually willing to commit to the city of Jacksonville right now, I hate it, but ultimately I do love that. But here's the reality. He holds nobody accountable ever. It's as if he doesn't know anything about the NFL and shows up. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize we're so bad. It's terrible. And the irony is the second half, we still got outscored by the Bills 13-7. So despite the fact that they weren't even trying, they still outscored us when they were just playing prevent the entire time. We're playing our starters deep into the fourth quarter. You know, we got our backup quarterback who, look, at this point, you might as well see what happens. What does he do? He immediately fumbles the ball. It was terrible. It was horrible. What is this?
Team is a joke.
Every one of these players on a different team with different coaches plays better. Everyone's playing to their absolute worst potential.
Yes.
Everyone is on the floor. This is a chance. If you somehow win this game and then you go play Houston, you're playing for a number one spot in your division. You can right the entire ship. Guess what? Everyone comes out flat. There's no energy, no life. There's nothing going on. It was started from the first snap. There's no jumping around like we got this. We can bring it back together. No, that is gone. What happened to the 2022 season coming in after winning and yelling out Duval, giving out game balls? That's all gone. Doug is checked out. Press is trying to string anything together, but he's maybe the dumbest person alive. We're fourth down in the red zone going for it. Guess what route runs we had from the wide receivers? What every person ran. They all ran the same route. What was that?
Yeah, they
route?
all ran a go route. Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, it's just, I'm just tired of it.
Yes, they all run a go route. You have 8 yards to go. No one's cutting underneath. No one's like doing an out route. Nothing. No. All go route out of all 4 wide receivers on a fourth. It's just the dumbest plays I've ever heard. It's like playing a little child on Madden. Like, even they pick better plays, pick crossing routes, pick throwing it over the middle, anything. Like, what are we doing?
We started this podcast 2 years ago expecting, hey, this is the core. This is the Jag. You got Trevor Lawrence, you got the right piece, you got ETN, you got some of these pieces. The Jaguars are going to be on the verge of being a perennial playoff team. Not only are we a perennial playoff team, we're back to being on the verge of a perennial top 3 draft pick team.
Yeah, we're back there. I mean, this will be after we start 0-4 because we're not going to beat Houston in Houston. That will be the conversation because we're already at a stage where, look, 0-3, the percentage of a team making the playoffs from 0-3 is under 2%. And those would be spectacular teams that just had fluky first 3 games. We've gotten dominated by any good team. Look at what the Browns and Dolphins have done the other game. They look atrocious. Anytime we're going to play a good team, we're going to set NFL records for how bad we get blown out this year.
I never want to hear making the playoff percentage ever again. This team is nowhere near the playoffs. The only thing that they're close to is maybe 4 wins this entire season. That's the percentage I want to hear. Maybe we'll make 4 wins, 5 wins. That's the only thing that this team is actually maybe capable of doing. They're nowhere close to the playoffs. Don't anyone ever bring that up again against this terrible, terrible team.
That's my point. My point is the conversation is now, how high of a draft pick can we get? And now, granted, this quarterback class is not good at all anyways, but you can't go get a quarterback anyways because you're stuck with Trevor for the next 6 to 7 years.
Trade him now. Trade him now when somebody still thinks you have some sort of chance to fix him.
Man, who's trading for Trevor with that?
The Browns. I don't know.
Contract?
Somebody else will.
They just paid Deshaun Watson a zillion dollars too.
Maybe the Giants. Maybe the Jets. Somebody will pay him.
No, the Dolphins, because most likely Tua is going to have to retire. So they absolutely
just paid Tua $250 million too.
Yeah, but apparently he can get out of it if he retires. They may have to start all over. Trade him, Trevor. I don't want anyone from this draft pick though. Sanders stinks. Maybe Beck from Georgia, maybe. No. But honestly, it doesn't even matter. We could have the best team ever. If we had the same coaches coaching, we'd still be the worst team because it's not the players. You need to restart. You need to fire everyone. Fire Ryan Nielsen. He can go back to Disney World on his Small World After All ride. That should have never happened. He's terrible. Fire Press Taylor, fire Doug, fire Trent Baalke, fire everyone. Fire your son, Tony Khan stinks. He's too busy worrying about his A&E wrestling to ever really care about the Jaguars. Like, fire everybody and then just start over and then pick up the pieces of the players that you can and then just try to start over. But it starts with the coaching and this organization. Fire the sales ticket people. Fire everyone that is anyone a part of this Jags team because everyone that touches it is abysmal.
The Jaguar fans should boycott attending on Sunday or next Sunday home game. I know we're playing on the road against Houston this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's supposed to be the retro game. They finally give us the retro jerseys and it's supposed to be this huge thing. No one should attend. Just don't do it. No one wants this team. No one wants these coaches. It's disgusting.
And look, this is going to be a different format of a podcast, and we're doing it for at least this week because it's a truncated week. We may just do this at all because if the Jaguars don't really care, then we'll put out crappy product too for our fans. And here's the reality: we're also going to break down the Texans game, but there's nothing to break down because it's all about effort, and nobody cares about on either side of the ball.
The fact that the Jags are 6.5 point underdogs only in Houston feels insane. I mean, if the Jaguars are within a touchdown after the first quarter, that feels like a win right now. They're just getting blown out early, and there's no leadership. I like Trevor. Trevor's a cool dude. Trevor seems to love Jacksonville, but he's not the guy to rally the troops. Doug Peterson, as you said, Joey, he's checked out. He's definitely silently quit. He doesn't give a rip. And Press Taylor's just not the guy to do anything. And so, yeah, I mean, we could break down offense, defense. We could talk about the Texans and how they're all in and how they have some starters and how they're going to come out hungry because they just got blown out in a bad loss. But this Jags team doesn't care, and there's just not a ton to break down because it doesn't matter who they play. If they play like they keep playing, they're going to get blown out. And there's no reason to think that they would play any differently because they played this exact same way for the last 10 plus games. And yeah, Houston's going to win this easy.
When Doug Peterson was fired from Philadelphia, one of the biggest reasons is because he did not want to have Jalen Hurts. Now, at the time, you could have said, well, that might have been smart. Maybe he wasn't the right person and Doug needs more of a traditional quarterback, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts has looked awesome and Doug Peterson is trending in the wrong direction fast. But the ultimate takeaway that we should have got from that is the fact that how hard-headed he and Press Taylor are on their offense, and they continue to do, you're exactly right, Jack, the exact same thing. The reason why we're not confident is because they're not going to pivot. Almost every other NFL coach, when you see something like this, a performance like this, drastic changes should be made. Your chance to push the panic button was after the first game, or at least the Cleveland game. Here, the panic button's already been broken because it's been pressed so many times, and yet we avoid even thinking about pressing the panic button. We're going to keep trying a little bit harder and looking ourselves in the mirror a little bit longer as the Texans get a wonderful rebound victory at home against the Jaguars.
Putting out bad product with all these mistakes, and they think, the players just need to tighten up and stop making these mistakes, and then it will work. No, the problem is it's broken from the beginning. It is the scheme. It's the psychology of what they're trying to run. It's all completely broken. And I believe the players know it's broken. That's why they give no effort. They're like, this is the dumbest play I've ever seen. I'm not running this route, or I'm going to just jog it because I don't care. No one cares on this team because it's just so poorly run. There's no plays to get these players like, what's the remember the Titans line?
Attitude reflects leadership. There's the leadership is so bad. You're right, Joey.
It's so bad. We just keep saying it over and over again, and no one gets fired.
Again, I don't even know that I have the energy to keep ranting on the Jaguars. I'm just tired, of saying the same things over and over. And the worst part is, if you talk about, well, how do the Jaguars fix this? I agree with you, Joey. You've got a clean house. But the reality is it's a DNA that's broken. In any organization, if you're going to change the DNA, that is going to be a long-term process. And I know a lot of Jags fans want us to go get Bill Belichick. And part of me at this point is like, yeah, just try anything. But at the same time, whatever change is going to happen has to go at the ground level, a leadership level, a DNA, a culture level. This is a culture of losing, a culture of not caring, a culture of not giving it your all. And so that is going to take a long time. And so if there's any hope for the Jaguars to be good again, buckle up, because it's going to be another long rebuild, because this team is a hot mess. You're stuck with a lot of big contracts. And worse than that, you're stuck with a really, really losing DNA on this team.
It all starts at the owner level, because that's the only thing that's been consistent through these 15 years. We were not this bad under Weaver. At least we were competitive under Jack Del Rio for the majority of that time.
Yeah, we at least gave it our all too. Were there games where we were outclassed? Sure, of course. We've Jag fans know we've suffered many blowouts, many embarrassments, but it's never been like a team that just didn't care and coaches that just didn't care.
We've had that. We've had that under Shad Khan. We've had that with players
I
themselves.
meant pre-Shad Khan.
Oh, yes. So look, I don't care about what the offense does versus their defense. I don't care about our defense versus their offense. Guess what? Here's the reality of the situation. The Texans did not play well last week, and the Texans will play well next week. They're well coached. Miko Ryan's well respected. CJ Stroud is light years better than what Trevor Lawrence is doing right now. They will win by at least 10 points. And I just don't have any confidence. What is the one, every time Trevor goes back, you're holding your breath because you're not sure if he's going to get sacked or throw a pick.
Our defense versus their offense, they'll be able to throw it to anyone they want because we can't cover. Nico Collins will go for over 100 yards. CJ Stroud will have all day in the pocket. And even though Houston Texans have been one of the worst offensive lines, I bet we still maybe get one sack. Every other time, CJ Stroud will have so much time to play, and we'll just get absolutely picked apart, and they'll score over 30 points.
Yeah, this is going to be a blowout. It's going to be ugly. You can't play like you did and not make any changes and now have even more injuries where Alua Khan's going to be out for a while and a couple other guys are not going to be playing. It's going to be another ugly game. Maybe Houston put some more of their second and third stringers in the second half. We get some more garbage points, but go ahead and give me Texans to score 40 yet again. So give me 42, Jaguars 14, because we can't score more than 15 points.
Yeah, I like where you're going. You tend to see closer games in divisional, and let the record show I predicted 44-13. Let the record show I did pick 44-13 against the Bills. I said this is the game where the wheels come off, and that was
very impressive.
I think this will be a little bit closer. I think it's going to be 34. There's no way that the Texans don't score at least 30. I think it's going to be 34-17. I think we somehow get a little bit of offensive movement. Again, a lot of that's probably going to be when the game is well within hand, but give me 34-17.
Give me 37-9. I don't think we actually get it into the end zone at all. I think Cam Little's going to score all three of our field goals. I think that our offensive line is not going to hold anyone, and they actually have a very good defensive line with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. So Trevor's going to be on the ground constantly, probably fumble it a good one or two times. See that happening. But no, I don't see this anywhere close as a divisional game. I think they will give up again. I just want to let y'all know, one play broke this team. One fumble, and no one has ever stood back up and gotten back up. That one ETN fumble has broken the entire 2024 season. That's an absolute joke, and it's so sad.
I think this may be the first time on the podcast in the last season in 4 games where Joey has picked the Jaguars to lose. That should show you how bad it is in Jacksonville.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm never picking the Jags to win again until Doug is fired.
You may not pick the Jags to win again for a while then.
I'm done with this crap. Let's close this out with the way that we should after a horrible performance on Monday night. Boom.
Boo.
Whoa.